to you.
Yo, what's poppin', all my peeps? It is I, your host of the most Renaissance man who always thinks he can, and your champion of the peeps, Patty Pitts, back once again in the yard of streams for another edition of the Smackdown Breakdown, part of the Pitts and Sara's wrestling show where we take no nights off. That one didn't flow as well, but like every day we get better, and you get better until you are the person who is joined alongside me, the best of the West. You can't forget about Sara Marshall. What's poppin', girl?
Hey, yo.
Hello.
We gotta find a better way. How we doing?
I'm okay. I'm tired today.
Is today your day off?
Yeah, I have Friday and Saturday off.
That is nice, though. I will say.
Sunday always feels, my weeks go by so fast, like my work weeks, because Sunday feels like not a real work day, because most of the people are off on Saturdays and Sundays. Yeah. So I just feel like I just get to do whatever I want for the most part. Like, I mean, work wise, like there's no meetings, there's nothing like that I have to do. Not in the off season anyway, because that's going to change obviously once the season's here. But
absolutely. But right now you're just, you're kind of going down your own path. Like if you don't have to be told you're going to do one thing. You'd be like, I kind of want to do like this today and see where it goes.
Yeah, I can work on other things and whatever. So that's kind of nice. Just makes everything go by so much faster, because I'm like, everybody comes back to work on Monday and I'm already a day ahead.
Look at you being ahead of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Today flew, but not in a, no, I didn't do anything, huh? No, I left my house at 4:06 this morning and walked back into it at 4:15 this afternoon. And then, Sarah, we turned on the old television, and I watched Smackdown again. Kept watch a little bit more detail. If you watch with no commercials, you can fly through it in like an hour.
That's why I record it.
Yeah,
because then that's how I can watch it.
No, you get fucked with the no cable.
I really need to see if I could get a VPN, and then I can watch SmackDown live as well.
Someone give Sarah a VPN, please.
Well, I might buy one, so it's not a problem. But
let's get one so you don't have to buy one. But yeah, I don't mean that in a bad way though. In all seriousness, because I still watched everything. I watched you skip over like because you come back from commercial fast forwarding, and it's like, oh, you missed the welcome back, but you right back to the action.
Yeah,
I thought all the matches were like very good television matches. Like, it was a very entertaining show to me, and this might be my own bias because I am the SmackDown guy. I love how SmackDown has always been, but goddamn, it's just so good right now because it's all building towards something. It's all like everything's building and building. I mean, others more than others, but I mean, I'm just so into what's going on and want to see it follow through and pay off.
Mm-hmm. I think you're probably one of the very few that feel that way.
Yep.
It just feels like a lot of stuff on SmackDown is not being received well, but that's the internet. That doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot,
I don't take a lot of stock into what the majority of the internet says.
So yeah.
I don't.
I get it.
I kind of march to the beat of my own drum.
Mm-hmm.
So let's hear from the peeps before we dive into the breaking of the down. Vinny, ayo, loyal and humbled. Why humbled? That's a weird adjective. Or that's an adjective. Jay, what's up? How you doing? And we got David, as always, here. We love to see it. We love to see the loyal peeps here on a Saturday. I know. I'm not going to lie. I walked in the house, too. My parents were just getting back from Market Basket. And I said to them, I'm so happy to not be going out tonight. I'm so happy. I just
Well, you also are in control of that, so it's not like you have to. No one's forcing you.
No, not in that way. No. I mean, like no one's texted like, "Hey."
I know, but that's because you have a hard time saying no. That's what I'm saying.
What happens when you don the title of champion of the
you get to a point in your life where you're like, I don't care. I'm almost bummed that you're asking me because I have to say no.
Oh,
I don't want to.
You gotta go out. You gotta experience what's going on.
Yeah.
What's going on in my city? Well, I'm going out tomorrow for the Celtics, so I mean that's basically that's an automatic. If anyone is watching in who's from Boston right now, hit some bars. That would be a good place to watch the game. So I can discuss while I'm golfing tomorrow, Sara, 12:50 tea time. All right, now that's enough of royal rambling about my life. Let's go into the nonsense that is Smackdown. What's going on,
Sara? The Bloodline kicks off Smackdown, and it's all of them minus Roman, obviously. I'm just talking about the Bloodline 2.0, including Paul. And Paul gets on the mic to let us know that as of now, until Roman returns, whenever that may be, Solo Sikoa is now the head of the table. He doesn't say it very excitedly.
No, he didn't.
And that also makes you wonder, was this something Roman decided? And that's why Paul's saying it? Or are they making Paul say it? That was what I was immediately thinking, because I'm like, everything else that has been happening, Paul has been like, hey, did this come from Roman? I thought we were only supposed to do things that came from the tribal chief, blah, 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 blah. But the fact that he gets on the mic and is like, hey, by the way, with Roman gone, Solo Sikoa is the head of the table. It's like, okay, so did Roman tell you to say this? Did they pressure you into saying this? Because obviously they're like bullying him,
Yeah, exactly.
But
so bullying him.
I think that's kind of an interesting development to, I'm like, I don't know.
It's so funny to see Paul Heyman be bullied in the Bloodline.
It's such a nice change, though.
Oh, it's a very nice change of pace.
Yeah.
Very nice change of pace.
So once that is said, that's when we start to hear the "We Want Roman" chants. And then the rest of the ceremony is, according to Paul, a double proclamation. So we officially now see that Tama Tonga is the right-hand man, which that's my guy right there. Tama Tonga, my guy. That is my guy. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with him the way that I'm like currently obsessed with JD McDaddy right now. But that's, and then we also see that Tonga Loa is an official part of the Bloodline. And did they give him a name or a title? I don't think so.
Who? Tonga Loa, the infamous? Did you not? I wrote this.
Oh,
in my,
okay. No, but I meant like they didn't name him like, right hand man or whatever is what I meant. Like they didn't.
Give no, they didn't give him any of that. No, you're right.
So, after that, Paul tries to leave because it's like, all right, like I did what I'm here to do, whatever. And Solo then gets in his face and is like, where do you think you're going? Like, what are you doing? You should be here thanking, Tama Tonga Loa for saving you from Kevin Owens last week, because they could have just let you be victimized by KO, but they didn't. And then that's when Tama gets on the mic and is like, yeah, we could have just let him kill you, bro. We could have let him kill you. And then he just reluctantly is like, thank you, right hand man Tama Tonga, thank you, infamous Tonga Loa.
So scared.
And that is when Kevin Owens comes out, interrupts the whole situation. They get into a brawl, and the Street Profits come out to even the score a little bit, and that sets up the main event, which is another part where Solo threatens Paul. That if
I wanted to see the other main event though that he teased. I wanted to see Tama Tonga versus Paul Heyman.
I don't think we want to. That would be like you throwing a lion in in the ring with like a puppy. That's like what it would be. It would be like 2 seconds and it would be over. You know what I mean?
Making Tama Tonga noises.
Yeah. Oh my god, I'm obsessed. So so before we even get into like diving into what we want to talk about with the bloodline. I feel like it's going fine. I think that people are kind of overreacting. I think that this was a fine segment. We get it. Okay. You want Roman, brother. We get it. Okay. I think that as I said to you before we went live, I think the biggest problem that the Bloodline 2.0 is having isn't from a lack of effort from the guys involved. I think that Solo doesn't have the same commanding presence that Roman does, but we also have to remember how much newer Solo Sikoa is, not only to WWE, but to this role, and how seasoned Roman is. So yeah, it's not going to be the same. But I think that's the problem, is that we're comparing it to the original Bloodline far too much. So you're just setting yourself up to be disappointed and holding Solo specifically to a standard that he can't achieve. And so then you're sitting back and complaining about how you just don't think that it's working. It's like, no, because of the expectations you have in your brain. You're not buying into what they're trying to do. And then you get online and complain about it. I feel like that's what it is. If you just are paying attention to what they're showing you, then I don't see why it's so bad. I don't get it.
They lack the ability to see that this is not supposed to be a bloodline replica.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be comparing Tama and Tonga to Jimmy and Jey Uso, and it's not. It is a new era. Like, it's a new version of the bloodline, and they're doing different things with it. It's so good because it's setting up the eventual, obviously, Civil War that we're doing, whatever. But not only that, it's setting up for future ideas with it. I was going to write this in my notes, but I forgot. This is WWE setting up a Bullet Club type of faction. And I mean this not in the styles or the, comparisons, in the sense that New Japan has done this forever, or a long time, with their factions. There's one I forget the name of, but Nakamura was a part of it. And now, obviously, Bullet Club, where it doesn't matter who started it or was in there to begin with, it still lived on. The Bullet Club has had its own history. The Bloodline's doing that too, and it's family. That's the other thing. They're all related. It's insane.
I feel like
it's yeah.
To me, it feels like what they're trying to do is more of a bloodline that The Rock would have had. Like, what they're doing and how they're behaving based off of heel Rock this time around feels more of like they would fit if he put a bloodline together. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't something that I feel is supposed to be, oh, this is the next generation of the bloodline after Roman. Like, he's not, Solo's not trying to step in Roman's shoes and be like, okay, I'm going to continue the work that he started. No, he's trying to, create his own path, his own group around him the way that Roman did, but they're going about things a lot differently than at least at the beginning of Roman's bloodline. And it just feels, like I said, to me, it feels more of on par with how The Rock was. Like, even the way that people are like, oh, I'm not buying into it like 100%. I'm like, that's, to me, I feel like it's kind of that old school vibe where it's like, when The Rock was beating up Cody around the arena, like, it wasn't like, it's hard to explain because it's like, it doesn't, there's just something about The Rock doing it that it doesn't feel like, oh wow, that was like super good. It's like, it feels like a little cringy, but like, you're like, oh, it's The Rock, it's okay. I feel like that's kind of how this feels. Like, sometimes you're just like, oh, I don't really buy it, maybe it's a little cringy, but it's like, it's fine, like, this is what it is. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like, because you just don't buy The Rock doing this, and maybe that's why people just like, Solo doesn't come off like that type of guy either. So that's why I was thinking, I hadn't even told you this yet.
Oh,
so something that people have talked about is like, and Solo doesn't have that presence. He's just not that guy. Like, the way he talks and the way whatever, everything that he does, it just isn't working, whatever. Well, we haven't talked about Jacob Fatu in a long time. And he is allegedly signed by WWE and is yet to be used. So the only idea that I had was, if we really want to try to make this better according to the fans or whatever, maybe we just don't think Solo as that guy is working well enough. I still think it's a little too early to be coming to definitive conclusions like that. Because also the bloodline doesn't really have like a solid story. Like, yeah, okay, sure, they're doing this against Kevin Owens, but it's not the same on the same level of what Roman's bloodline was doing, obviously, because they don't have a champion either. But the only thing that I thought about is they could bring in Jacob Fatu and make him the head of the table, because everyone had talked about the possibility of Jacob coming in and outshining Solo, because he does hold that type of presence that people feel like the next tribal chief or whoever is supposed to replace Roman should be. And it feels like, okay, well, there are ways that they could introduce him as a member of the bloodline, but they boot Solo out, or even Solo willingly gives it up and hands it to Jacob. To me, I feel like that could work.
I could see them feuding.
Not even just that, it could be like,
give it up right away.
It could also be something like they could say Roman brought him in. Roman wants him to be the next guy.
Yeah, that's
Solo needs to prove himself more. He's disappointing me or whatever. You know what I mean? Could even be something that Paul does, which, if we're trying to say like Paul could use that as a manipulation tactic, saying it's coming from Roman when it's not coming from Roman, because he's trying to create controversy and drama between the family, because he's actually, on Roman's side because he misses Roman. Whatever. There's so many ways that they could do it. And I feel like if people are having an issue with just Solo being that guy, then Jacob Fatu switching in could be like, I would feel bad for Solo because I don't think it's giving him a proper chance. But if that is a concern that they're having too, like the guys in the back or whatever, the writers, then that feels like a way. Because otherwise, like, how do you introduce Jacob Fatu at this point? Like,
you got to do it in a monumental way too.
And that feels monumental in my eyes, like coming in and immediately like taking over.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that might actually get people behind this whole story, I think people might be more interested in seeing Roman versus Jacob, maybe perhaps more than Roman versus Solo. I think Solo was just thrust into this role, and I feel like it was the perfect opportunity because Roman was taking time off. And, I've said that I predicted this over a year ago that Solo was going to be the next tribal chief or like the next head of the table. I said this a year ago, and now it's coming to fruition.
Kind of unbelievable, really.
So like, I think that he was put into this situation, and maybe they didn't properly prepare him because obviously they weren't having him talk. They weren't really having him do a whole lot than just like beating guys up and then leaving. So it feels like then to put him into a position where he's supposed to be a leader and then like being the next guy up after Roman Reigns, it's like being the next quarterback after Tom Brady. Like, it's just not, it's like, it's not going to be great for whoever is in that situation. And I feel like that's kind of what's happening with Solo. And it's unfortunate because I think that he could be really good, but it feels like it might have been too early or too soon.
I think he's fine. Everyone needs to stop overreacting.
I think, and like I said, I think it's just because they keep comparing it to what we've already seen and they just don't want to buy into it. And now all of a sudden they miss Roman. That's like the problem, And it's like, but if Roman had retained his title, you wouldn't be saying all of this, you would be begging for him to leave. You'd be begging for Solo to turn on him. Like, you'd be doing all that. So it's like, what do you want then? Like, I don't know. I think at the end of the day, we just need to give it time. If it sucks in like a month or two, then yeah, okay. But like, I think right now it's just a little early.
I don't think it's gonna suck in like a month or two.
I'm not saying I think it will. I'm just saying.
No. I know what you mean.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that they just need to calm down. Okay, then we move on to Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. We finally know what they will be doing at Clash of the Castle, which is something that I had just talked about also, I think when we were talking about Raw, that it needed to be a triple threat or something because they got to get the Scottish girlies
Gotta
on the
get him in
card.
there. Gotta get him in there.
Yeah. So Jade and Bianca face Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell, and we know it ended exactly how we knew it was going to end. Of course, they retained their titles. But while they were out there, the Unholy Union and Shayna and Zoe came out to watch the match. And when the match was over, they all jump in the ring and start beating on each other, blah, blah, blah. And that is when we finally see Jade and Bianca in the back. Later, they reveal that they're the ones who went to Nick Aldis and asked if they could make this match. So that is when we find out that we will have Jade and Bianca put their titles on the line against the Unholy Union, Isla, Dawn, and Alba Fire, against Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark at Clash at the Castle. And I feel like I'm a lot more excited about this match than maybe I should be. And I don't mean that in like a negative way, but I couldn't tell you the last time that I was looking forward to a women's tag team title match.
Yeah, not only just a women's tag team title match, it's a triple threat, so it's a more of a reason to tune out. But the way they've built this and who's involved, you're intrigued on how this is going to go, because you could see in one way, you could see Bianca and Jay just dropping the titles and whatnot and starting something new, because that's what they do, and that stars like that do. And then one of the other teams getting it, whatever. But you could also see them just dominating too. Like, I could actually see them, not a total squash match, but like superhero type of shit. Like, they're just built like that. And yeah, it might be in your face. Well, some things in life are just in your face, and that's just life. It is what it is. And they are what they are. They're just mega stars that look like something out of a comic book. And they should be the tag team champions. I don't know for how long. I'm for it being quite a while, because really, what else can you do with Bianca right now?
I think that she's enjoying this too. Like, it's
Exactly.
such a change of pace for her. You know, like, I think that sometimes it's like they're not equal. I don't mean that, but it's like when Randy was paired with Matt Riddle, it was like he didn't care that he wasn't in the main event. You know, he didn't care that he wasn't going for the world title. He actually was enjoying having a tag team title run, because that's not something that he ever really did, or probably didn't think at that point in his career that he would get to do it for as long as he did, nor did he probably think that it would be as fun as he was having. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's kind of where Bianca is. And I think she obviously is still going to have aspirations to, you know, do whatever, however many title runs she wants, or main event WrestleMania, whatever she might have. But she's done a lot already in her relatively short career, I would say. And so I think that it's okay for her to then be like, okay, yeah, I'm going to be a tag team with Jade Cargill for a while, because that helps me. Like, I get a break from doing all of these other things on my own. I get to hang out with a girl that I actually like and is my friend, while also simultaneously helping her establish herself in WWE. Like,
exactly.
To me, it works well.
This could also open doors for, outside of WWE, kind of that face of the company that WWE wants to bring more eyes onto the product. The two of them are going to get more eyes on the product. So it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliantly done.
And I think that the women's tag titles need to be held by people for a while, like be held by a legitimate tag team that is like putting on good matches and actually defending it. I think otherwise, it's just they've been either dropped too often, or tag team was holding them, but they weren't really defending them or doing anything with them. So then you kind of forgot that they even existed. So I think that they have the potential to do that. And because they're going to inevitably want them on TV, probably a little bit more than the other girls that have held the titles before them, you would assume that means they're going to be on Smackdowns, they're going to be on Raw, they might show up in NXT. Like, there's going to be reasons for them to be on TV all the time, which will be nice. So then Grayson Waller We're speeding through this today. We're
We
speeding through
are?
it today. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I know.
Jesus.
I know, but that's just how SmackDown is. Like, there was just a lot of backstage stuff on this episode, so I feel like that's kind of why. Anyway,
Okay.
so the rift between Grayson Waller and his tag team partner Austin Theory continues, and I am here for it. Okay, so we see that Grayson is going to be taking on Johnny Gargano because, of course, they're still feuding with DIY. DIY wants those tag team titles, and I got to tell you, Tommaso Ciampa looking good on SmackDown. He probably thinks that's so weird. There's probably not. He probably doesn't have fangirls that are like, "Oh my God, Tommaso," and I'm over here like, "Oh my God, Daddy." But shout out Tommaso. I mean,
so interesting to see which wrestlers are like your daddy, like you're into.
I know it's very
not
weird.
the common ones. That's what I like.
Yeah, but that's kind of how it's always been, I would say. I mean, if I felt tingly for Scott Hall as a preteen, I think that tells you everything you need to know. Okay? Because I could have easily been like, I don't know, who was like the hottest thing? Like
Shawn Michaels.
I guess, but like never never into him.
Exactly, but that was every girl's favorite.
Yeah, Randy Orton, young Randy Orton, like just not.
Yeah.
Not my thing.
Edge.
So yeah, never.
Oh, sorry, no Edge. He was he was Edge then. He's cold.
Yeah, I was gonna say never into Edge. Never thought Edge was hot.
See, really, I not the hot thing, but I was never like the biggest Edge head.
I never was.
Like I recognized real, like I knew he was awesome, but I was never a fan of him because Word Life.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. So we see Waller and Gargano have a pretty good match. One little scary moment we saw, which thank God Gargano is fine because that could have been scary.
That was so awful.
That could have been bad. And then we see Grayson, trying to prove that he does value his friendship with Austin Theory by using him as a human shield during the match, which then allows him to take advantage of that moment and get the win over Gargano. And Theory is pissed. Grayson doesn't give a crap. He's just celebrating, dancing, doing his thing after winning, and Theory is just like, bro, what? And I think this is hilarious. Like, we said that this should have happened so long ago. And so I'm glad that we're kind of finally seeing it now, because I think I feel like an easy way for them to go about a babyface turn for Theory would be to even purposely try to help DIY win the titles. I feel like that would be easy, and then he could align with them if he wanted, to do the way if that's what they want, which is kind of tricky because the way isn't really the way right now with Candice and Indy being heels.
Yeah, they're kind of just like mean girls.
Yeah, but I just think what's funny is how many people are on board with Theory turning. That is interesting to me because I'm like, so many of you have not cared at all. I remember when we were first talking about this like months and months ago, maybe even a year ago or whatever it was. I remember we got people saying like, you're an idiot for thinking he should turn, like he's so good in this role, blah 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 blah. And now you guys are all sitting there screaming about how this needs to happen. It's just like, yeah, we know. We've been saying this for quite a while. So I'm excited. I'm interested to see how they go about it.
I'm very interested to see this. I wanted to ask you, would you have pulled your tag team partner in the way? Or are you pushing him out of there?
Would I? Like, are you asking me?
Like, no, I'm not like you, Sarah, personally. No, I'm saying like, you got to think this is Waller just not caring anymore.
I think it's that, but it's also like winning is so important to him that he didn't care. And then he might think that him and Austin will be on the same page and that Austin will understand why he did what he did. And it wasn't a slight at him, right? It was just like, oh, well, I needed to make sure that this didn't happen to me. So you were standing there. You're my tag team partner. You're my guy. I'm going to use you. But obviously, based off of what we've seen, this isn't a one-off. This isn't something that Grayson just did this week on Smackdown and then was apologetic. It's like, no, it's been a couple weeks of things being a little icy between them. So I'm interested in it, you know, like I saw people online who also don't think that this is a good move. But I feel like you cannot continue to waste Austin Theory in a role that's just not working, and Grayson Waller doesn't need it. Waller was doing so fine on his own. Why do you think that there was almost a Grayson Waller effect every single week? Like, he was hosting Grayson Waller effects before every pay-per-view, during every pay-per-view, and that wasn't with Theory. That was before. So it's like there's no reason to believe that they're not going to be fine without each other.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Are there any comments that we need to get to or no?
Nathaniel apparently is the biggest Edgehead of all time.
We knew that. We could tell.
Why do you hate Edge, Sarah?
I don't hate Edge. I was never a big Edge fan. Once Christian kind of broke out on his own, I preferred Christian. And then if we're talking about like that era, you guys can hate me all you want, but I was a huge Chris Benoit fan. So like, to me, that I was more interested in like Benoit and Jericho and their tag team, and Edge just gave me the ick. I don't know, especially like rated R gimmick. Like,
I wish I kept that rated R shirt that my mom gave me.
And he blocked me on Twitter, so
he did.
Yeah. So that's why we're not cool. We're just not cool.
On this day, we don't see Sara because we have her blocked. Calvin, do you see DIY attacking Waller in Theory, watching them on the Grayson Waller effect as payback?
I mean, maybe, but I don't know. I'm not sure how this is gonna go. I would assume that maybe they're gonna set this up. Maybe they'll have a tag title match at Clash of the Castle. Maybe that happens next week or something. But before that, I would assume Grayson does another thing, and then maybe the final straw is Grayson does something in that tag team title match that really sets Theory over the edge, where he sacrifices being a champion to help DIY. That seems like that makes the most sense to me. And then maybe afterwards they'll, Waller will have a Grayson Waller effect to discuss it, and maybe it'll be just him in Theory. I don't know. To me, that just feels like that's what we're getting, because it feels to me that just makes the most sense. Yeah, maybe that's too predictable. I don't know, but I feel like they can't push it out too long. And then it also feels like they should just have the tag team title match at Clash of the Castle. Like, we're better to have it. Like, it doesn't matter that none of them are from there. You know what I mean?
No. This is just a good matchup that should be on a pay-per-view.
Probably a great way also to establish Theory as a babyface in front of a crowd that is going to be hot. Like, that is probably the best place, because then also when you're at home, you feed off of the crowd as well. Like, you're watching it on your TV or whatever, and how the crowd is reacting to what you're watching does like impact your experience watching it. And so I feel if they do a babyface turn at Clash of the Castle for Austin Theory and that crowd goes bananas, that's going to then like make the viewers at home like get on board with what's happening too, and probably support Theory as well, more so than if it just happened on SmackDown and the crowd was kind of like, oh, like kind of confused. I think they need to build it up to be exactly like what we saw. It's not going to be the same, but like Sammy turning on Roman, Otis turning on Chad Gable. Like, they need to get us to that point for people to care, and I feel like the Scottish crowd, you don't have to do a ton to get that reaction.
No. You need a real organic moment to get them to pop. You just need an organic moment that doesn't feel forced.
they can test it out on SmackDown, because SmackDown next week is in Glasgow too. Yeah. So you can set it up a little bit, see, like, test the waters about, like, okay, what if we do like another thing where you can see that Theory is like, he's on edge, there's something going on here, and then you can decide, okay, should this fully happen at Clash of the Castle? Yeah, I would be into it. Is it on at 1 p.m. your time? Do you know? Have we figured that out yet? Is it at 10 a.m.?
It is.
Oh, okay.
Wait, hold on. I'm double checking.
I feel like it's a 10 a.m. show for me.
Clash at the Castle start time. Oh yeah, why am I on the Yahoo? Oh, it's on Bing. Great. Why is it? I wish like it would just tell me the answer immediately.
No, I know. I wish it was easier to find. Like, I wish that I could just like.
Yeah, this is crazy that I clicked an article and it's not telling me the time. Like, this is. I'm also on Bing. I don't know why we just don't go to Google when I'm on Chrome. That makes no sense. Okay, Clash at the Castle start time. Thank you. 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
2, so that's 11. Okay. Nick Aldis had a lot of female fans in TNA. Did you ever find him hot? Yeah, he still is. So, yeah. I'm trying to think, like, who did I think was hot back in the day when I was a child? The Rock. I used to be in love with The Rock. I'm still not sure why. Looking at him back then, I don't get it. I thought Chris Benoit.
I just wanted to be him. I didn't think he was hot, but I just looked at him like, I want to look like that man.
Yeah.
I just remember that. Like,
Benoit was hot. Like Razor Ramon, Scott Hall was hot.
Rick Rude. Were you a Rick Rude?
Hardy. No, two before my time.
Jeff Hardy was
everything to me. Yes. Oh my God. So hot. I'm trying to think who else as a child. Like, finding attractive, because like I liked Eddie, but I wasn't like drooling over Eddie.
Yeah, you weren't like, oh my God, Eddie, go right.
Yeah, like I loved Eddie, but not in that way. Oh, John Cena. John Cena. Hello. I don't.
Wilson was my number one. I love Tori Wilson. I thought she was so beautiful.
I feel like that's it as a child.
Ashley Mazzaro was like hot. Like, Tori Wilson to me was like beautiful, and Ashley Mazzaro was like hot. Like, yes. Layla, I thought Layla was stunning.
Yeah.
Crystal.
I'm trying to think. I think that's it. That's mostly who I was like.
I'm trying to think, like, high school. Summer Rae. I love Danielle Monet.
She looks exactly the same still.
I know.
Okay, speaking of hot men. And I'm talking about LA Knight. LA Knight. So we see LA Knight. He comes up to Nick Aldis, and he is still looking for Logan Paul, because of course Logan Paul doesn't want to do his job. He doesn't want to be U.S. champion. He doesn't want to represent the company. It doesn't matter. You have a job. You're a champion for a company that you don't even want to be there for. So can't. Sorry, stop. So Nick lets him know, yeah, he's not here again. He's busy doing other things, because that's what people do when they're champions. And LA Knight is not excited about it. And he was like, you know what? If he's going to be busy at the Tetris competition, like, I could show him Tetris and I could stick my boot up his ass and blah, 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 blah. Carmelo Hayes comes over and is just like, ew. Ew, that's weird. That was funny to me. And then he just talks his ish, which then, of course, leads them to have a match, and it's a fine match. It's a good match. We know. Hello.
It was a very good match. I was thoroughly entertained.
Yes, that's what's great about LA Knight having that NXT experience. You know what I mean? Because then it's like they already have built-in chemistry with those guys that came up a lot later than he did. But the basic. What?
They have I was just gonna say, LA Knight has a nice old school style to him. Mm-hmm. Where Mello is obviously new age, the high flying, quick strikes. They had a lot. It flowed well together.
Mm-hmm.
Their differences flowed well together.
Yeah. So I mean, the biggest part was LA Knight gets he gets one of the headsets, and I don't even understand why Wade was acting all scared. I'm like, you love LA Knight, like why are you acting all terrified of him? But he grabs one of the headsets to talk to Logan, and is like, okay, well, if you don't want to show up to SmackDown, then I will bring SmackDown to you. And I'm like, okay, everyone just immediately starts thinking, do not do another home invasion. I don't care, because I think the one that he did with AJ Styles was great. I didn't think that was weird or random or anything. I don't think that that's what's going to happen. I'm sure if they're going to do something, it's like Logan is going to be somewhere and he's just going to find him. You know what I mean? Like if, let's say, he had the Tetris competition this next weekend, like LA Knight will show up. You know what I mean? Like I think that's what it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be a house thing. The tricky part is that next SmackDown is in Scotland. So it's like, okay, is Logan going to be there? Like, is he gonna go to Clash at the Castle? Because they haven't said anything about they haven't said that it's gonna be Logan versus LA Knight yet, right?
No, they're building that one up for like Money in the Bank.
I know. I'm kind of wondering about how that's going to go, but
They're definitely building that one up for Money in the Bank.
yeah, and I'm excited for it. I want to see it. I think that some people are going to be disappointed because they want LA Knight to win the briefcase. That's the problem. And that's why I think when we had this conversation, we were kind of picking and choosing. Like, what would you prefer to see for LA Knight right now? And it's like, okay, well, winning the US title seems a little bit better for him at this point than Money in the Bank. And we've talked about it ad nauseum, and I've said it already before that it seems unlikely that they would let him cash in on the world heavyweight champion because he's on SmackDown. The world heavyweight champion's on Raw. They didn't even move LA Knight in the draft to Raw. They kept him on SmackDown. And there's no way he would cash in on Cody Rhodes and ever have a successful cash in. So to me, okay, well, if that's not going to happen, then why not just put a title on him? To me, that makes so much more sense than sitting around twiddling our thumbs wondering when LA Knight is going to be able to cash in on somebody. Like, I would hate for him to have a Damian Priest Money in the Bank run. You know what I mean? Like, we were all sitting there like, when is Damian going to cash in? Oh my God, why is he not cashing in right now? This is so stupid. I wouldn't want that for LA Knight. I think LA Knight deserves to have a title. And if it's not going to be a WWE championship right now, then give him the US title.
Make it relevant again.
Exactly. And like, does he maybe need the Money in the Bank briefcase to put him in that position? Maybe, but we already saw him get a match against Roman, never had any championships before facing Roman, and they let him go against Roman in Saudi, which is that's a big deal.
And didn't win clean or lose clean,
exactly. So like, that's not over. But like, I know that everyone wants to say, well, if he cashed in on the Raw champion, they would just move him to Raw, but I don't think they want him on Raw. I think they want him on SmackDown, at least right now. They want to have that top babyface on SmackDown. They really need a top heel, especially with Roman coming back as a babyface. So that's another conversation, because they don't have like a top heel on SmackDown, really. But yeah, I think that at this point, especially if they're going to set it up for, I don't know, Money in the Bank, or even if they have it at Money in the Bank and Logan cheats, then they push that out till SummerSlam. I think LA Knight is winning the US title. I think he's winning the US title and he's not winning Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
And I think people just need to be okay with that.
You need to be fine with it. There's no reason for Money in the Bank.
Okay, this is how fickle fans are, right? Because when we were talking about what he was going to do for WrestleMania, people wanted to see him versus Logan Paul at WrestleMania because they wanted him to be the US champion. Then instead, they were like, no, we're going to give him a great first opponent at WrestleMania. We're going to give him AJ Styles. People were complaining. They were like, this isn't right. He should have been against Logan Paul. He needs to be US champion, blah, blah, blah. Then 2 months later, that's what they're giving us. And now you're complaining. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Makes no sense.
Because it's like, I understand that you want him to be a WWE champion, a world heavyweight champion. But if they're going to give him a different title in the process, then hello. How is that not good? We know that Cody's not losing anytime soon, and the world heavyweight title is too intertwined with like 5 different guys right now. It's just not. It's not in his future. It's just not right now. Eventually, he will be. He will be a WWE champion.
It's
but
going to get there. We're going to get there.
There's no reason to not give him the US title right now, because imagine if they don't, he's literally just going to be floating around on SmackDown every single week, having exhibition matches that mean nothing. Like, why is that better than being a US champion?
It's really not.
Doesn't make any sense.
Give him the US title, please.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. Anyway, then we move on to Bailey. She comes out, and before she really gets to say anything about Piper Niven or Chelsea Green, they come out. Chelsea talks some trash, being like, haha, you're just a loser, and all these people are also losers, and my sweet pea is going to beat you for your women's title, blah, blah, blah. So Bailey takes advantage of the moment, of course, to be like, Piper, you don't really need a mouthpiece. Like, you don't need someone speaking for you on behalf of you and talking trash for you. I've respected you since I saw you in the Mae Young Classic. Like, you were so great. If you wanted a match, you very easily could have just asked for one. But instead, you took the coward's way and jumped me from the back, beat me up, blah, blah, blah. And now you have your match. I'm going to have fun beating you and proving to you that I'm better than you and why exactly I'm the women's champion. And that's when we see Piper Niven finally get on the mic.
Finally talks business.
And I know you almost forget she's Scottish. Like, that's how little she talks. Like, you don't remember that she's like Scottish. And I would say, for someone who doesn't speak on the mic very often, she did great. That was solid.
Oh, that was a really good promo. I was very impressed with it.
Yeah, I liked that they let this happen this week, and then there's the opportunity for her to be able to speak again next week, because I think if they waited until the night before the show, that would have been too late. I think we need to like establish more for her going into this, so a week ahead I think is good. Sorry. Woo! Also, she looked great on SmackDown. She looked great. I know everyone was focused on Chelsea, but I was looking at, I'm like, Chelsea looks great in a paper sack. Like, stop. We don't need to, you know? It's like, but Piper looked great. I liked her makeup a lot. And I'm looking forward to their match. I feel like that's going to be good, because Piper is like, you know, I guess you could say she's like Nia Jax, because she's one of the bigger girls, but like, she's legit in the ring, and you don't get to see her go against somebody like Bailey that often. So I feel like this is such a great way to spotlight her. And I'm just excited for all of the people in WWE that are Scottish and they get to actually perform at this show. Like, I'm so excited for them, because you assume it's just going to be Drew, but they've added so many other people. So I'm excited.
I am also very excited for this match. I just have nothing else to say. Like, it's just tough, because I agree with a lot of what you're saying. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm excited for it. Because like I am. It's just that's when like there's. It's just exciting. That's it.
And I think that this is a good opportunity to legitimize Piper even more. Because she's going to be going up against Bailey, who everyone loves and everyone knows is really good. And it's like, we don't know a whole lot about Piper yet. So I feel like this is a really good moment for her, and then also puts her in the main event of the women's division. You know what I mean? And I think that it's a little bit more interesting than if Bailey were just facing the same old people. You know, that's why I think it's beneficial that something like Bianca is a tag team champion, because she very easily could be facing Bianca for the 4th time right now, you know?
Like, who cares?
So yeah, and so it's kind of cool that it's like, all right, instead it's actually Piper Niven. So I think that's cool.
Did you realize that Piper Niven's been wrestling since 2008?
I didn't. I looked up how old she was, because I was like, oh, how old is she? She's only 33. So yeah, so she was like not even out of high school when she started wrestling, which is pretty cool.
That's very, I could see that from her background. That European English style, if you start young, holy shit.
Yeah. Well, and I knew about her going to Japan, because that's how I knew that her and Chelsea had met. So it's like that, I think it's great that she was able to mention that when she was talking, because I do think that a lot of people, and I don't blame them, because it's not like I always know the history of wrestlers before they come in WWE.
Mhm.
You know, a lot of people probably do only know
It's
about
all
her in the way that Bayley did, where they saw her in the Mae Young Classic 7 years ago, and that was their way of being like, oh, that's who this is. You know what I mean? So I think that it was cool that she was able to be like, no, I've actually been around for a lot longer than just, you know, the Mae Young Classic. I was doing a lot before that. So I think that's why this is even cooler for her, that she's going to be able to like have a women's title match at a pay-per-view in her home country. Like, that's pretty cool.
Can we take a sidebar before we get to the main event?
Okay.
Because you mentioned the Mae Young Classic.
Uh-huh.
Do you know how star-studded that whole tournament was?
I
Of
know.
stars?
That's the thing that I think they should do it more, because I think that it didn't matter if you won. You know,
No.
like, yeah, if you won, great, good for you. That's awesome. But like, so
Mm.
many of the other girls that came out of the Mae Young Classic and didn't win, like, their careers are
Are
on
still
fire.
thriving.
Yeah, so
Oh,
that's the
they're
thing, is
insane.
like, it's the exposure. It's like how good you are in the ring, how well you get over with the crowd. Like, there's so many factors to it that it's like, yeah, of course, winning would be really cool to be able to say, but that's not the end all be all. So,
Like, let's look at these names quick because we have time. I mean, I don't know Abby Lath or Aisha Raymond, but I mean, I know the next three: Bianca Belair, Candice LeRae, Dakota Kai,
mhm.
Kyrie Sane, Lacey Evans. I didn't know that actually. Kaylee Ray, who you're like, who's that? It's Alpha Fire. Mercedes Martinez, who's now in AEW. Meech and Mia Yim, obviously Piper Niven. It was Reina Gonzalez, who we all know now as Raquel Rodriguez. And then Rhea Ripley, Sarah Logan, Serena Deeb, Shayna Baszler,
Serena Deeb is everywhere.
Ty Conti, Tessa Blanchard, the all,
Isn't
very
she
controversial.
problematic? Is she the one
She's
that's
very problematic.
okay?
She likes her people. And Timeless Tony Storm and Xia Li.
Mhm.
That is an unreal. And there's some names I didn't mention because I've never heard of them.
Mhm.
But like, I'll give one: Marty Bell, Jazzy Gabert, German. Oh, German! That they have a promotion over there. It's fucking insane.
What is
Someone I
going on with NXT like world? Remember they were gonna have like NXT Mexico, like
oh yeah.
NXT. Remember, they haven't said anything about that. Is The Rock holding that up too?
I mean, I think TKO buying kind of
Yes.
put that, not stopping it, but it's only going to
That
make it easier for them when they want to do it for
that went
money
over your
purposes.
head. That went over your head.
It on purpose.
Why? Because you don't believe that he's holding the WrestleMania footage hostage? I 100%.
No,
He is
no,
1,000%.
I
Yes,
I do not believe. I
I
think
believe
they
that.
just no.
Yes, that's what's
There's
happening.
no shot. Do you know
Yeah.
how much footage and shit that they could have from that?
I just want to remind you, he's the reason why he almost faced Roman Reigns.
And then we
So
got the pivot, which
yeah,
is
because
the
they had
single greatest.
to stop defending him.
I will defend The Rock
No,
until I am
no,
body physically 6 feet on the grave
no, that's
and
ridiculous.
spiritually above.
People do not deserve to be unconditionally defended. That's not how the world works.
That's how
It's not.
humanity works, though.
No, no.
I'm
Um,
the champ here.
no.
I
So then we get to the main event, which is the Street Profits and Kevin
my
Owens
God.
versus the Bloodline, which of course no match that involves the Bloodline 2.0 right now can end normally.
No,
So
can't.
it just can't. At the end, we just see they take it to Kevin Owens. They stand over Kevin Owens, feeling victorious. So they're continuing to reign supreme. They are continuing to wreak havoc. They are continuing to establish their dominance over SmackDown. And hopefully people will start to buy into it. We already had this conversation, so I'm not going to get into it again. But I do think that, going after a guy that is as beloved as Kevin Owens is a good idea. I do think that, like, if they really wanted to establish it, they would have to go after somebody like Cody Rhodes. But I'm assuming, how sick would that be? Wait a second. They go after Cody Rhodes it's still relevant. So I guess after AJ Styles, they could do it to avenge Roman or whatever, but Roman comes back to side with Cody. That would be pretty great. That would be pretty cool.
How do you connect that?
What?
Him siding with Cody?
Because he comes, well, because we already know Roman is going to come back to face the Bloodline 2.0. Hello. So if they are attacking Cody, and I'm just saying if he comes back, then he could side with Cody, is all I mean. Like, because if they also bring in Jacob Fatu, it would be 4-on-3, Roman and the Usos. They could throw Cody in there.
It'd make more Sammy in there.
Sammy's on Raw, so it's not going to work.
Yeah, but Bloodline rules.
No, I would prefer
it's
Cody.
Bloodline rules.
I feel like Cody and Roman being on the same team is like iconic. That would be just like so insane to see, given where they were at WrestleMania. That would be wild. In a very easy way for Roman to establish himself as like the other top babyface on the brand. I don't know. I would be into it. I feel like that would be so crazy. I'm shocked. I am so shocked that Chrome Knuckle doesn't like an idea that I'm saying. I'm shocked. I'm legitimately shocked.
I'm trying to think how this like.
I'm not saying that this is what it should be, so let's not talk about how stupid I am. I'm just saying I would find it entertaining if that was the way that he came back, because nobody would be seeing that. And they've already said that the Bloodline needs to handle Cody. Clearly that's not been happening because Cody is off doing stuff with AJ Styles and the Bloodline is off doing whatever with Kevin Owens, and now the Street Profits. But I would assume they're going to circle back to Cody at some point. So if we're supposed to believe that Roman's going to be back around SummerSlam, then it makes sense that if they circle back to Cody around or before SummerSlam, why wouldn't Roman come and do something like with Cody? I don't see it being an issue. I don't see how that's stupid.
No, I'm envisioning it. I know what you mean. Yeah.
It's combining forces. Have we not seen this before? Yeah. Hello, like John Cena, Randy Orton. Like, come on. Like, this is like such a wrestling thing that you're kind of like mind blown. You're like, this is happening. These dudes that hated each other for so long are now buddies. Like, that's happened how many times in wrestling? Like, it's not unheard of. I don't know if that's what. I don't know if that's what's going to happen. We know that Roman's going to come back to like go against the Bloodline 2.0. So it's like, I was just saying, if that's the plan and they're already going after Cody, Roman could do that. That's all I meant. But anyway, I'm wondering if they're going to have anything for Clash at the Castle for the Bloodline. I don't think there's anything interesting enough for them to do at Clash at the Castle.
Maybe them Paul versus speaks, but like.
That's fine, but like I don't care about seeing them versus Kevin Owens again or Street Profits again. Like, I don't care,
I'm thinking. You see, now you got me thinking how the Bloodline can go. I'm in deep thought today.
No, it's the way that you say it, Chrome Knuckle. It's the way that you like act as if I'm an idiot.
Is Chrome Knuckle a Pitts fit?
Apparently, and he's an anti-Sara.
See, but the Pitts fits aren't anti.
Well, that's clear. It's just the way he says the things that he says. That comes off rude. That's the problem that I have. Being like, Roman helping Cody, damn, what the fuck? That's dumb. Like, saying stuff like that, it's like not cool. Like, you can have a difference of opinion, but I'm not going to tell you that you're dumb. Or like, be like, what? That's so dumb. Let's like, why would you say that? That would be terrible. Like, I'm not gonna say stuff like that. But that's fine. Different strokes for different folks. Have your opinion. You can have an opinion. You don't have to agree with me. That's fine.
You don't have to agree. I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying I have my own thoughts of how the Bloodline is. I've also had many thoughts about how the Bloodline is going to happen throughout this entire show. So I actually do not have like a legit one like you do. So
No,
I'm just
oh
so
my gosh,
open
I'm
to.
not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm not saying Roman is going to
You just
team up
brought
with
it up.
Cody.
I'm
I'm
saying,
just saying, what
yeah,
if?
yeah, you brought
I
it
know.
up.
I don't want that pinned on me, because then if it becomes something that people say that it's really stupid and it doesn't happen, I'm not taking ownership of that. I just threw it out there because it came to my brain.
Yeah,
I just think it would be cool. That's all. Imagine that,
Okay.
actually being able to like root for
root for your home team.
I don't know, rooting for Roman would be weird.
Chaos.
I don't have an issue with you. It's just sometimes the way that I read it, it just doesn't come off nice. That's all. I can try
Well,
to
what
just
is
not
your
take
first
offense to
language?
it. Isn't he Spanish, Portuguese? Something.
Those are from the that's from the hip, Sarah.
No, I'm pretty sure that he said that he was from a Spanish-speaking country.
Oh, he did? Oh, yo
I
hablo mucho
wanna
español.
say that he said something like that. I forget where he said he's from.
Yo hablo mucho español en mi trabajo.
It's the WrestleMania documentary that they're gonna put together about how they got to the pivot. They were supposed to put it out like a week after WrestleMania. It's been pushed out because of The Rock. You can't convince me otherwise. We don't care.
Do you know
We don't care
how
what you have to
much
say.
footage?
This is one of those times where I'm telling you no.
I'm gonna keep talking anyways. You can't. No. You don't treat me like CM Punk. Don't put.
Told you.
Oh, I only know obrigado. That's the only word I know in Portuguese.
So I'm good. I remembered.
Look at you.
I know.
No, Vinny, don't.
What?
It's not because of The Rock. We don't know that.
We don't know. 1,000% is because of The Rock.
Not because of The Rock.
Yes, it is. I've told you, because he doesn't want to look like the bad guy.
Oh my, yeah,
that's why Gerwitz is out here being his mouthpiece, like putting on all this other weird stuff that he's saying and trying to make Cody look like the bad guy.
I will say
that's why.
No, those comments are very strange by him.
Those are it's coming from The Rock. Stop. Not all of it, but a lot of it is going to come from The Rock, because he's trying to spin what actually happened. If that wasn't the case, we would have had this a week or two after Mania, the way that they said. But they're trying to that's why I think that it's not going to be realistic anymore. I think that we're going to get like a manufactured version of what actually happened. I don't think it's going to be like an actual documentary. I think it's going to be more fiction. Because they're going to want to make it more like suspenseful or whatever. And that's why I think that The Rock is involved, because I think that he doesn't want to look like the bad guy. As I told you, he was only a bad guy when he was on Smackdown or like at Mania. Everywhere else, he was not living kayfabe at all. He didn't want anyone to think that he was an asshole. So I really do think that he doesn't want to expose what actually happened, and that he actually did try to take away Cody's match unrightfully. And he doesn't want people to change their opinion of him, despite the fact that a lot of us did, including me. So
I didn't.
Yeah, well, that's because you're a Rock fan before you're a Cody Rhodes fan, which is kind of that's fine. That's fine. But I also think that
my OG guy.
That you should be a wrestling fan before being a Rock fan. So
whoa.
I think that I'm just saying what he did was wrong in wrestling. It shouldn't matter.
I disagree with him.
It shouldn't matter.
It was wrong.
Yeah, but it shouldn't matter that it was The Rock. It shouldn't be a problem no matter who it is. It shouldn't be like, oh, well, it was The Rock. It's okay. That's not okay.
Okay.
I'm just saying it's not. If he did it to John Cena, would you feel that way? If he did it to CM Punk again, would you feel that way?
No, I would.
You would still be Team Rock. Because of what I'm saying, would you be okay, since you seem to be okay with him doing it to Cody Rhodes?
I mean, I was okay with him doing it to CM Punk because we got John Cena Rock.
Yeah, but see, I still don't think that's okay though, because I'm not talking about what happened afterwards. I'm not talking about what happened from it. I'm talking about the fact that he came in and used the fact of him being Dwayne The Rock Johnson as a reason to boot someone out of their rightful match. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying anything beyond that. You're okay with that?
In some instances, yes, and some no.
Okay, so it just depends on if you like the guy.
No, it depends on the situation at hand. When it was Rock Cena 29, I didn't mind it.
I'm not talking about anything beyond. I'm talking about The Rock coming in and saying, guess what, Triple H? I'm facing Roman Reigns this year, not Cody Rhodes. Doesn't matter what happened after that. I'm just saying you're okay with him doing that. That's what I'm asking you. It doesn't matter. You have to forget what happens afterwards.
Okay. Now you're really putting me in a moral.
Yes.
I'm not.
No, it's not a conundrum because you can say no that you don't like it, even though you like what ended up happening. I like what
I don't like it, but I'm gonna ride with him anyways.
Yeah, but see, that's not okay.
That's you. It's just how I like. I don't like it. I think it's stupid. I think it shouldn't have been. You should have done it anyways.
But is that how you are with anybody? Like this is the thing. Like that type of mindset to me is like someone who would defend like a mass murderer, right? Where it's like, I know it's very different, but what I'm saying is they were cool to me. I never saw them do anything weird. I think they're a nice guy.
I also have, yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I do, and it's a very weird gray area. But in my life, there are certain people that do things, and I'm just like, that's fucked or whatnot. But I'm like, I've never had a problem with them. So
are you somebody who would cut off a parent if they really did something terrible to you? Are you somebody who yes, or grandparent,
no,
an uncle?
I can't do it.
If you're
uncle,
you couldn't do it to a parent, no matter how fucked it was.
That's your I'm
just trying to get into your mentality because I'll cut anybody off if they do something.
I mean,
like
uncle is different. I've cut off a lot of those family members, we'll say, and I just like I don't care.
Okay, I'm just trying to get into your mentality. That's all.
It's just more about like what they like. I would cut off a friend more if they did something to me rather than to somebody else.
What about like a brother? Would you cut off a brother if they did something horrifically gross, terrible?
To me?
Yeah.
To me, probably.
Or like your parents. I'm just trying to dive into like, are you somebody?
My brain twisting and turning.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to get into like a psychology thing. I'm just trying to.
No, but I love like the psychology of people is some of my most like. I find people fascinating. So anytime psychology comes in and how people think and whatnot, I'm always intrigued.
No, because I'm just saying, like, there are people who honestly believe that there's really nothing that certain people could do to ever take away like their love for them or their appreciation or their support. I am somebody who is like, there are plenty of things that you could do to me or to somebody that I love that would be very easy for me to just cut you off. Like whether it is someone that is a friend, a family member, celebrity or whatever, like I could cut you off like that as if you do something that I deem worthy of me doing that. That's what I mean. Like there's no one off limits. Like, would it be hard to be like, yeah, mom, I'm not talking to you ever again? Yes, of course. And I hope that never happens. I'm just saying like there are possibilities that my mom could eventually at some point do something so horrific, disgusting, whatever, that I could get to a point where I don't talk to her is all I mean. I'm not that kind of person that would just look the other way because I love you or I'm supposed to like you. So that's why I'm asking, like with The Rock, is there anything that The Rock could do that would make you actually be like,
It's something more home to me, you know what I mean? Like if he did something to something like I'm just gonna give an example. I don't think he ever did it or would, but just an example, like the city of Boston. If he was like, he disrespected something about Boston, whether it
like
was
the marathon or something.
The marathon, the mayor, just the culture of it. Like, because I really take my Boston pride seriously.
Phoenix was full of meth heads.
Yeah, but he was in character.
Like, I know. I'm just joking.
But like if he came to Boston and was like, you bunch of Irish men and like stupid Catholics and whatnot, like, yeah, you're hilarious. But like if Dwayne Johnson. Like that's what I'm like.
But see, that's why that's the perspective I'm trying to give you though. Because that's what he did with Cody. That's what he did with Cody. It was Dwayne Johnson trying to avenge Black Adam being an absolute dumpster fire. By taking advantage of how hot WWE was, he did not give a shit that he was taking a spot away from someone who deserved it and worked his ass off to get there. That's the problem that I have. Doesn't matter if it was Cody Rhodes. It could have been CM Punk. And you know how much I don't like CM Punk. But if that were CM Punk, I would be just as pissed. Because I'd be like...
You said this on the show.
Yes, and I mean it. I mean it. Because I would be like, that's not okay. If John Cena did that, John Cena would never... But if John Cena did that, I wouldn't like it either. I'd be like, at this stage in your career, you don't need to be taking opportunities away from anybody. You're John Cena. You know what I mean? You're The Rock. People want to see The Rock wrestle if that's what he could do. Anybody at this point, no one would. I mean, like, would you want to see it against Roman? I guess, but like, not by taking that opportunity away from somebody else. Like, he very easily could have come back and been like, I want to fight at WrestleMania, and we saw him against somebody else, and that there was no tease of him versus Roman, and people would have been just as into it. You know, the reason why all of this happened is because people were pissed at him asserting his dominance and like whatever as a member of the TKO board to take something away from Cody that he'd been working 2 years for. I mean, you could say he worked his entire career there to get to that point, but obviously, if we're talking about recent times and the relevance to what he was trying to accomplish, it would be the last 2 years. So to me, it's like, it doesn't matter who he did that to. It's messed up no matter what.
It is messed up no matter what. It's hard to look at the bad of the people I've looked up to, or like
I get it.
Hero, and they're just like, they do shitty things, and you're like,
and all of them do shitty things on a daily basis. So it's like, it's not like we don't know the things that they're all doing. So it's like, you can't do that. But I just think that when something like this happens, I'm not telling you to stop being a fan. I'm just saying you could be able to admit that what he did initially was wrong. That's all. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying stop being a fan of The Rock. Don't be this. I'm just saying, like, the fact that he did that and did not give a crap about fucking someone over is wrong. He's a 50-something-year-old man. Like, you've already become a legend in the wrestling business. You didn't need to then try and do that off the back of somebody else who isn't at that level yet. To me, I just think that's wrong. So that's all I was trying to say. I see what Chrome Knuckle's saying. It's not okay. I do blame Triple H for it a little bit, but I do think that Triple H was put in a corner. I do. I blame both of them because I think that, but based off of the little snippets that we have seen, it feels like he was kind of put in a corner, because then we also know that Gerwitz is around and he used to be a writer. He was a long writer in WWE. And then he was trying to establish that as like a reason to do what him and The Rock wanted to do. The Rock was just being selfish. That's what it is. At the end of the day, that's what he was trying to do. It all worked out, but he was being selfish. Everything that like Cody was saying about The Rock was actually probably what he felt. So that's exactly what he was trying to do, because how many years in a row have people been wanting to see The Rock at WrestleMania? How many years in a row have people wanted to see The Rock versus Roman Reigns? Why did he choose 2024 as the time to do it? It's because it was on the rise. It's the hottest wrestling company. It's becoming like way more like known to people outside of wrestling. Cody Rhodes was the face of the company. Black Adam just bombed. Like, he decided, yeah, I'm gonna take this opportunity now. That's why people had a problem with it. And that, like, Triple H doing it, it's wrong too. I don't get it.
I should really go watch Black Adam to see if it's that bad. That's where we're gonna end that.
No, I think he was in a corner. I don't think we have to remember he's not Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon can do whatever he wants, whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah, people got to remember that it's not his company.
Triple H though is like new to all of this. He's not at a point where everything he says goes. He's not established that.
Yeah, yet. And he doesn't want that either.
And imagine one of the first things that he does in the first WrestleMania that he has complete control over. He says no to The Rock.
You can't, because people want The Rock. But
I think that he knew that the audience was not going to react in the way that The Rock wanted them to. I think that's partially why he was kind of okay with it. And I think that might be like a subconscious. Even if he didn't know it at the time, I think he kind of knew subconsciously that it wasn't going to work because of how over Cody was. I think that's what it is. I think that he just wasn't in a position to be able to say no. But anyway, I don't mean to go on a tangent. I just was like, it was an interesting conversation. So
it was a good conversation. Gotta go with the flow. That's what we do. Yeah. We were under anyways on banners, and we end up going. End up being 115. So thank you guys for that. nice little conversation before we get into some nonsense after this. And if you enjoyed what you heard, our thoughts on SmackDown, our thoughts on WrestleMania, our thoughts on life, really, we went to a little psychological morality type of debate too at the end of this. So if you're into all that type of shit, no. The easy answer is no.
He's not. He's never going to be champion again.
No, he will not be. Cheers. If you like that and like all of what we did here, hit that subscribe button and bell notification to know every time we post, and follow us on all social media platforms, which are in the links in the descriptions below. We'll be back on Tuesday for the Raw Rewind, and Wednesday 6 o'clock. I think I'm going to start doing 6 is a good time. I think the 6 is a good time. Episode 4 of The Bad Gal. We're going to be doing a little more customization next time, Sarah, if you are free to tune in and give your thoughts, or you can just call me like I did the last time. Be like, I'm watching. You don't do that. Don't give me that hair. Don't name me that. Because now we're on Raw. We need we need a whatchamacallit entrance. We need it to establish ourselves. So
Judgment Day.
All right. We're vibing. So until next time, thank you guys for tuning in. God bless. Remember that you can do it. All you got to do is try. See you on Tuesday. Yeah.